Hey everybody, I'm Mark Walters with BigFanboy.com here once again at the Dallas International Film Festival, the final day of the festival, and it is a great honor to have a little bit of a surprise guest with us here, Val Kilmer, one of our recipients of the Art of Film Award. We were talking to you just last fall, and it's great to have you back in Big D. And
thanks, Mark.
Especially under the conditions that you're here, because you're here with your Mark Twain play. Finally,
yes.
We get to see it.
I know, finally, because I've been talking about it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I've started about 2 years ago looking around Texas sort of quietly. And then I had the good fortune to be in Terrence Malick's latest film. I want a career like him. You just make one film every 10 years and then make 5 in a row, all with Cate Blanchett in it.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm here with a play called Citizen Twain that's at the Wiley Theater starting on the 18th till at least the 21st. If we sell more tickets, I'll stay longer.
Yeah, I heard there's a possibility if the shows do well that we could see extended dates.
That's usually what happens in the theater.
Yeah. Did I also understand that there's a plan to maybe do something for some vets, like to give some tickets?
Yes,
to some vets?
yes. On my website, which is cleverly called Val Kilmer.
.com.
There's dots. There's W's.
There's all sorts of things.
Yeah. But it's simply that I'm offering free tickets to any vets returning from Afghanistan or Iraq, as many as I can give away. And then I'm hoping great Americans and Texans like Ross Perot, I know is helping out wounded warriors every hour of every day, will maybe do a benefit for the play. And we can invite a whole house full of
I may be able
vets.
to give Ross a call. My dad actually started EDS with Ross.
We're working
Perot,
on it,
so,
don't worry,
yeah.
but thank you. Your dad did what?
My dad was one of the original 6 people to start EDS with Ross Perot.
Well, forget
So
about Ross.
that's my
I'll just
connection.
talk to you.
No, I'm totally not as interesting as
What's
that.
the phone number?
The phone number for Ross? Hang on a second, I'll
Yeah.
pull it up here and we'll get it.
Or the email?
I think it's Ross at rossperot.com. No,
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I wanted to ask you about the Citizen Twain, because I know this is a big passion project for you. When did the idea for this first come about? When did you decide you wanted to do the play?
Well, the play came, which is a one-man show about Mark Twain, and a real character study. So I try to touch on as many aspects of his many interesting and genius aspects of his character as I feel the audience can stand. That came from me starting looking for an American story, a uniquely American film that I wanted to write and direct, because I've always wanted to direct. So I came across this story about Mark Twain and Mary Baker Eddy that I thought had all the drama and a subject that I could remain passionate about for years. They're both such interesting geniuses and have so many parallels in their lives, even though how they lived and what they lived for at the same time was almost completely different. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think of Mark Twain as a hedonist, but as he said of himself, I'm not an American, I'm the American.
Right.
He's just sort of filled with every failing we've ever had as a nation and every glorious genius achievement. And like Americans tend to do, he makes this completely innovative, spectacular writing style and way of being an American, way of celebrating an American, just being frank about who he is. You know, I talk funny, you know, or I was born modest, but it wore off. You know, just, you know, he's America. And Mrs. Eddy, who founded a religion, had a very similar circumstance through her early life. They were both taken out of school when they were 12. And being completely self-made. She didn't grow up in a dirt floor. From not a well-to-do family, but really well-respected. Twain's family, they never made it. And as I say a couple times in the play, I never made my father laugh. It's you know, out of a lot of his hard life, being very poor on the border of you know, growing up on the Mississippi and having this dream of escaping and just born with kind of genius imagination. all that spawned a really simple story about two great Americans finding their way into the new century. When they both started, just a quick example,
Sure.
the big news was the telegraph.
Yeah.
And inside their lifetime, the automobile, airplane, special theory of relativity, and this kind of unimaginable burst, by many people unimaginable, still things we're catching up with that are common to us, like all the physics involved in a cell phone, but the way of thinking that was so spirited and individualistic was that really grabbed me. So that I then realized that I hadn't taken the time yet to create the role, so I developed this play.
And how much research did you put into this? Like, how many was this over several years?
Well, the film's on and off writing for 10 years. I've
Yeah.
been writing on it all my free time. And then the plays the last 3 years and the last year and a half exclusively developing it. And I'm very proud of the product because it's a what you call a Broadway touring show, even though I haven't been to Broadway yet. That's the quality that I'm going after, and I was very lucky. One of the designers that as a local boy made good is John Arnon, who's a very famous set designer, and I got very lucky because I've been developing it outside of a theater.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about when you're on stage? Obviously, it's a very different sort of mentality. You're
I
playing,
feel amazing.
playing more to the audience than like when you're on camera. You know, it's a different sort of process. And I mean, what do you
Well,
like?
I grew up doing theater, and for quite a long time into making movies, I had still done more plays than film, and I was very proud of that. And then I left it off to start a family, and early on in my career, I couldn't really make a living, and now I have a very real plan, Ross Perot, to finance the film through the play, and I'm looking for friends, Ross Perot, to.
We'll make sure he knows.
It's not just Ross. There's a lot of people.
Sure.
Trammell Crow.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fun of the play and the whole developing of it is there's such a genuine spirit with Mark Twain that's so alive today, and that's just about celebrating America. It's a real love story. And to be involved in that every day, and his kind of, to be honest, he's a nicer person than me. He was quite acerbic, and he wrote a lot of mean things about Mrs. Eddy, for example, that he'd get loaded and write diatribes and wake up in the morning and throw them away. But a lot of nasty stuff did get printed. And when he was angry about a subject, and he was often angry in the latter years about God, it's pretty mean. And his finest writing, of course, is his humor, and he's awfully funny about God as well, and religion. Mm-hmm. So that's how he's most remembered in terms of that subject. And I touch on it a bit in the play. But this love affair he has with America is really inspiring, and to me. And on the serious side, his two big issues that he made great contributions to as an artist was attacking and successfully changing the psyche of our nation, really making a serious contribution to how we have addressed race and greed. He's so funny and warm and involving and inclusive about telling a good story about a person who happens to be a slave or a runaway slave, and just he's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, so many of those themes are still very relative today, and I think that's one of the reasons why Twain has been such an enduring figure.
Yeah.
It's just very timeless.
And he just has a way of talking, like I'm an actor, so I'm involved, battling or enjoying celebrity almost all the time. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm lucky to be noticed for it, but it's a strange. It's a strange life to go to a party and not just be able to
Enjoy yourself.
Enjoy
Yeah.
it. Just being there. You have to be aware of. And nowadays with the Twitter world, it's now everyone's kind of aware of identity and celebrity in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You can do something really stupid and someone happens to film it,
Right.
and then you're famous.
Yeah.
Or you can design a series around it, like the Kardashians stuff. I don't know if they've done anything stupid. I've never seen it.
I can't
But
imagine they've done anything stupid.
People say that it's partly their choices that have made them so successful. Anyway, the evening in the theater is warm, and I know it's funny. That's not my opinion because people are laughing.
Yeah.
It's sort of terrifying when you write comedy. It's made me laugh, some of these jokes, for 10 years, and some of them every day. And specifically last 3 years, like this stuff I started in before we started filming about fame. I was born modest, but it wore off. Give yourself a compliment. If you can't get a compliment any other way, do like Congress does. Give yourself one. Although I'm also embarrassed to say what I think to a person when I get a compliment. I so often feel they have not gone far enough. That's funny. It's funny every day. And we all know people like that. They're so proud of their humility that they've got a way of talking as if they're not talking about themselves, but all they do is talk about themselves. And he was aware of that. He loved being famous. He wore a white suit a lot in the latter years. And
I know when you play a character, you really immerse yourself in the mindset of that character. And through the years, we've seen you play so many wonderfully memorable characters. When you play someone like TWAIN, or even maybe someone like Doc Holliday, how important is it for you to? Because obviously, to a certain extent, you can only find the voice that you think you know of that person. But to find the voice of someone like TWAIN, obviously, and get it perfect in every way, I mean, there's a certain amount of importance that comes with that. And thankfully, with him, there's so much material out there to draw from. But how long did it take you to finally find just that right voice for him?
I think these 3 years, thinking about him a lot, but constructing a screenplay and all the research required to, get a story right. Mrs. Eddy deserves a whole movie, and in the United States, the very particular world that they're living in and the choices you have to make. Now, obviously, budgets are a concern more and more, and even films like Argo are considered to be labors of love with superstars in them. It's not like it was even 5 years ago. So I know that financing's a concern. I had a big elaborate Civil War scene because you can't really understand the 19th century and past that Civil War, during the Civil War, leading up to it. It's at the core of everyone's existence back then, and important to understand America now. The South is much more aware of it on a daily basis than it seems other parts of the United States. But I think about 3 years, and just in the last 6 months starting to become easy. What you try to get to in acting is not intellectual, not any kind of labor. You're just able to be yourself in the circumstances of the character, so you're not concentrating anymore on the dialect. Daniel Day-Lewis last year, or this year as well, with this intense celebration of that kind of work is a good example. And so it's kind of famous now. I'm changing. I'm not calling it the method anymore. I'm calling it the Lewis. So I get into my DDL.
Yeah. Your DDL.
It's funny, right?
Your
Yeah,
DDL. I
it's
love
good,
it.
right?
I love it.
How's your DDL? Just start asking actors.
Is it like Lincoln or more the boxer?
How's your Daniel Day-Lewis today? So, a lot of what he's doing, I know, is it sounds like I'm minimizing it, but it's just explaining it. It's just maximizing the chance you have to make the time when you're actually in front of the camera better.
Yeah.
The more, if it's tricky dialect, and Lincoln was, or TWAIN is, the more you do it, goes without saying, the better you're going to be. Another thing is, if I made everyone in here call me Mark Twain for half an hour, you're just going to start to think of me differently or less about me. And so we sort of get into what acting is just playing. It's just very sophisticated kind of playing, and one that guys like Daniel Day-Lewis, I'm not jealous, receive continued and 100% support for.
It does seem like we are seeing a renewed interest in historical figures. You know, like
I know,
with
aren't I
movies
lucky?
like Lincoln. Yeah, so it's good time
I guessed right.
for something like this. Yeah, it's a great time for something like this. We joked a little bit before we started this interview about, because I told you Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my favorite movies. You know, why can't we just get these guys to make a sequel to this movie? I mean, you know, we would love to see you and Robert back.
I think it's folly. They've been off on this crazy tangent. Iron Man 3.
Yeah, why?
Shane Black wrote it, then Robert Downey Jr. didn't hire me to be in it. I think I could do a DDL, a Daniel Day-Lewis, and I could have acted like Sir Ben Kingsley enough to be hired as Sir Ben Kingsley.
Right.
That's a good film, too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
That I play Daniel Day-Lewis preparing to pretend to be Ben Kingsley
I think you just blew
in
my
a
mind.
Robert Downey Jr. film.
I think you just blew my mind. I don't even know how I could comprehend that.
Who could write it? What's his name from Adaptation? All he does is stories inside of stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm on a roll here. I'm never leaving Dallas. I'm just going to develop
Perot,
the film.
I hope you're listening. Ross
Yeah,
Perot.
does he support the film festival?
I don't know if he's part of this necessarily. But you did bring up something that is interesting, and that is the concept of making movies and things now. It's obviously there's more opportunities there than there used to be. But we are seeing kind of as a result of that the blockbuster films are kind of going away. Do you think that the fact that people are now having to make movies on more...
I'm still stuck on why Downey has not done a sequel.
I don't
know what you just said.
It's
but I
very
want to tell
frustrating.
him this through you. You don't have your DDL on, although he's pretty black in Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, he is.
He had his DDL on.
He was doing a little DDL
What's
there.
happened? You just gone for the money now? Is that gone for the easy? Just because your wife's the producer, is that it? It's true, you know? I guess there's a certain amount of smugness that happens when you've made $1 billion. I'm going to cry on camera.
Don't
Please
do it.
hire me.
Don't.
Robert, please. He called me once and then didn't call me back. Do you want to play the computer? I hesitated. I want to know if I said a voice? Let me think about that for a minute. Click.
Oh, man.
He didn't call back. I would have. I didn't really know what he was saying. I guess he thought everyone knows what the voice of the computer is in Iron Man 3.
Well,
Or not 3, 2. It was, or maybe it was the first.
Maybe it was the first one, yeah. The voice
I don't
of
know.
The suit, yeah.
But he was awfully good in Tropic Thunder.
He was good at Tropic Thunder. What I was going to say was, do you think now because...
But you know what he was doing in Tropic Thunder?
What was he doing in Tropic Thunder?
He was, I'm pretty sure, if I DDL into this, I think he was playing Russell Crowe, pretending to be a black man, because he's Australian.
Yeah.
And if you watch the quick little interviews, he's got a lot of... That was me doing Russell Crowe. I don't know what he does, but he had a couple moves. I was thinking, is that Russell Crowe?
You know, you may be onto something there. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I was... Basically what I was going to say was, do you think that nowadays, because movies are being made on more modest budgets, that it's making people want to work harder to do more with less and to be able to accomplish? I mean, like, for instance, film festival
It's making them talk like they're happy to work harder. That's money.
I'm so happy to work for less money.
It's really about the art.
It is about, it's about the art.
Now, you know that's true in the theater.
Yes, it is.
Because that's just all there is.
Yeah.
But what's very genuine about doing a play, and it's very genuine for me. I've had a great life making movies, but what I do best is on stage. But the extra part of it, to be in the community. You know, I'm here in Dallas doing a play, but I'm really here in Dallas. You know, when an actor comes to do a movie, they're staying in Dallas.
Yeah,
but
they
the
see
movie,
their hotel room.
Well, it's just not connected.
Right.
Even if it's about Dallas, it's, you know, a movie is about doing something that's for another time. Mm-hmm. And the theater, it's tonight, or it's the 18th at the Wiley Theater.
18th through the 21st.
Tickets available now. Although, who knows? Ross might have
bought all the tickets.
All out.
Yeah, you never
it
know.
Could be benefit, which I'd be happy to do. I am going to. I just can't. I can't afford it yet. I don't know how many tickets. I think we have about 50 or 100 a night to give away.
Well, we're gonna spread the word on it, Citizen TWAIN. I'm really looking forward to seeing this, because we talked about it like a year ago, and it's one of those things that like I've genuinely looked forward to seeing it. I always enjoy what you do.
Well, thank you.
And it's a pleasure having you come back and talk to us.
Well, to wrap up that thought, though, to be live on stage, and particularly with a story like Mark Twain's, he really was the original stand-up comic. Mm-hmm. Wherever he went, he just was himself there, and kind
of invented the monologue. Basically.
So the idea of a conversation, and that's how I've designed it. You're not quite sure whether it's a improv or just a stand-up when it starts, and then of course goes horribly wrong, because that's how life goes. But it's really gratifying. I'm very grateful for the enthusiasm I've got. We did a big show to kick it off in Los Angeles, and the audience really enjoyed it.
How would Mark Twain end this interview?
I think he would compliment the vigor of a young artist named Val Kilmer, who more thoroughly got his Daniel Day-Lewis going on than Daniel Day-Lewis. I was thinking about Val playing me when I watched Daniel play Lincoln. A fine man, a lot of good ideas. Lincoln, I mean. I don't know Daniel. But bravo. I say keep it up. Where's the sequel? I say make $1 billion being Mark Twain. And then don't call Robert Downey Jr. back. See how he does it?
Val Kilmer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
And Daniel Day-Lewis.
And Daniel Day-Lewis.
Together. It's a two-hander.
Citizen TWAIN, April 18th to the 21st. We'll have information down below. Thank you so much, man. This has been a pleasure.
So much fun to make fun of Daniel Day-Lewis and Robert Downey Jr.
It's pretty good.
I found a model now.
You did. Thanks,
Thank you very much.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.